So, if you serious foodies out there, I could tell you about some grilled scallops my husband made for me a couple months ago. And he served them on a fresh bed of arugula with a little pan-fried pancetta and some balsamic reduction drizzled over it with a little fresh shaved pecorino. It was awesome. Or I could tell you about the fresh Dungeness crab I had on the back of a boat in the San Juan Islands with cold shots of tequila. But no, tonight I want to tell you about s'mores. And I don't mean just any s'mores, I mean killer s'mores. And I don't mean the kind that are awesome, but I mean the kind that can kill you. So actually more than a couple years ago, my husband and I took our kids camping in the Adirondacks, way upstate in New York. And we were staying at Racket Lake. And we got to the campground, and we were looking for our site because it wasn't sold out, so we could actually pick the site we wanted. And we found this beautiful little campsite tucked in the corner of this campground. And it had huge trees all around it. It had rocks and ferns and moss, and this cute little idyllic path that just kind of led into the woods. And we thought how great to bring the kids hiking on that later. And for you who camp, you know how important this is. It had a nice flat area to it so you could put your tents up, right? And this year was going to be special. The kids were going to sleep in their own tent. Usually it was in the big family tent, the Taj Mahal, as we like to call it. But this year they had their own tent. So they went about setting up their tent, getting their sleeping bags in there, their books and their toys. And we have a rule when we camp. You have to have dinner and dishes done before dark, right? So we got dinner going, got the dishes done, got the fire started, and we're all sitting around the campfire. Now, if this wasn't a rule of Story Slam about typically no music allowed, I'd have you all join me in a couple of rounds of White Coral Bells or Don't Put Your Trash in My Backyard. But if you want to meet me at the bar later and have a couple of beers, we'll do a little kumbaya. I'll get that out of my system. So anyways, we're singing the campfire songs, and the coals get to that perfect place for s'mores, right? Those embers are glowing and they're pulsing. And earlier, the kids have gone in the woods, they've got their sticks, they've cleaned them up, they've sharpened the point, and we bring out the making of s'mores, right? The fresh pack of graham crackers, the big honkin' Hershey chocolate bar, and the big, fat, fluffy marshmallows. And the kids go at it, and they're having a blast. It's a perfect night. My husband and I are on like our third glass of wine around the campfire, and life is good. So the kids are about on to their third s'more, and I'm like, nope, that's it. Okay, time for bed. And something you have to know about me, I'm not a huge camper. I really like hot showers, running water, and beds and clean sheets. But when I get out in the woods, 3 days can go by and I haven't changed my clothes. And my dental hygiene, it's like a finger, little toothpaste, a little scrub, spit it out behind the poison ivy, right? And you're good to go. So the kids brushed their teeth, got into their little tent, and they got the flashlights going, and they're making shadow figures on the side, and they're giggling and poking each other and having a great time. Well, eventually, about a half hour later, the flashlights go off, it's all quiet. So my husband and I think, okay, we can go to bed now. So we knock down the fire, we check the campground one more time, because if you have any lick of sense and you're in the woods, you make sure all your food is in the car, locked up, or hanging from a tree, or in a bear canister, right? So we've checked the campground, we go to bed and fall asleep. Well, I'm a mom. So I sleep with one eye open and two ears to the ground, right? And somewhere in the middle of the night, I hear a noise that wakes me up. And it's just a little scuffle, and I'm like, okay, that must just be a chipmunk or a squirrel. And I'm trying to roll over and go back to sleep, and then I hear a louder noise, some more scuffling, and it sounds like something's poking around in the bag of charcoal we had by the fire. And I'm like, that's not a chipmunk, oh my God, I hope it's not a skunk or a raccoon. I hate skunks. We've had those before. And then I hear a, and I'm like, that's not a skunk, and I hear something rustling around the picnic table. I'm like, we've put everything away. We've done everything we're supposed to do, right? And then I think about my kids' faces, those sweet little sleeping faces in the tent. And I can picture the chocolate right here in the corner of their mouth. and the crumbs from the graham crackers kind of in the folds of their hoodies, and a little marshmallow, stuck in their hair. And all I can think is that all that's between me and my kids is 15 feet, a little nylon, and a black bear. So I am scared to death, and I have to admit, I was frozen. I hear the bear walk past the tent that my husband and I are in, and I can't say a word. I'm completely freaked out, and I want to scream because I'm thinking that'll distract the bear to my tent and keep him away from the kids. But I'm like Picasso's painting of the scream. I'm just stuck. I can't make a noise. And the bear keeps walking towards my kid's tent. And I'm like, I should wake my husband, right? But the last time I woke him up in the middle of a dead sleep, we had a robber in our house, and he jumped out of bed, chased the guy out of the house down the street. But my husband sleeps in the nude, okay? And the police didn't know if they should arrest the robber or the guy running around buck naked in the neighborhood. So I'm thinking, that's not gonna work, and it's too late anyways, the bear's going right there. And then the bear veers off towards that path that we thought was so idyllic earlier. Turns out we had camped on Bear Highway, right? Where the bear comes into the campground and eats all the food and goes back happy. Well, my kids will tell you, I haven't eaten a s'more since then. They love them, they gobble them up, but I make sure they wash their faces before they go to bed. Thank you.